Good morning. I hope you're having a really fun summer. Our theme right now is change, and it was making me think of slime. I wonder if you or anyone in your house likes to make slime or play with slime. In my house, Carmi's our slime master. She likes to try out different recipes and make slimes with different textures and colors and smells, and it's pretty cool. I mean, she takes different ingredients that are not slimy and she mixes them together, and it changes into something totally different. I don't know exactly how that works, some kind of chemistry. If you know Roy at church, you could ask him. He's a chemistry professor. But even if we don't know how it works, it's a pretty cool process. Anyway, there was this one day where everyone in my house was super grouchy. I don't know what started it. I don't remember why, but we were all just feeling really annoyed with each other. We weren't being that kind, and we couldn't seem to snap out of it. So to relieve her frustration, Carmi decided to go to the kitchen and make some slime. And she was not feeling very happy, but she took ingredients out, put them in the bowl. She realized she didn't have quite the right ingredients in the recipe, so she substituted other things to try to make it work. And she stirred it all together, and it didn't come out right. It was this like lumpy, gloppy, terrible color. Has that ever happened to you? When you try to make slime and it just doesn't work out right? Well, that was more than she could handle, and she just quit. She left it right there and she went to bed. But then in the morning when we got up, there was this gray blob on the kitchen floor, and it smelled weird, and it was kind of pulsing, almost like it was like a heartbeat or a breathing or something. It was gently pulsing. And we just stood there looking at it, not knowing what to do. So Carmi bent down, she got her finger like this, and she poked it. And when she did that, she was a zap kind of on her finger, kind of stung her a little bit. It hurt a bit, and it was cold, and it did not feel good. So we didn't want to touch it. And I leaned over to look at it. I had some trash in my hand that I was getting ready to throw away, and this little paper wrapper fell down onto the slime. We all watched, and the slime came up around the paper, and the paper disappeared, and the slime stopped pulsing for a minute, and it seemed a little better. So we thought, oh, maybe we need to add some trash to it. So soon enough, the putty started pulsing again and kind of getting bigger. And so we put some more trash on it, and it would stop a little bit, and then it would start to pulse again and grow. And it was growing bigger and bigger and spreading out in the whole kitchen. And so while we were trying to figure out what to do about this slime situation, we just kept feeding it more and more trash. Everybody grabbed some, and we'd take turns putting it on. And the putty would stop moving and then start growing again. And we would back up because we didn't want it to touch us. And so in that process, as the slime was growing and we're trying to figure out what to do, we realized we didn't want it to take over the things that we loved. So as we were backing up, we would pick up the things that we wanted to hold and keep dear and keep away from the slime. And then in the other hand, we'd feed it the trash. Well, before you know it, I found myself backed into a corner in the living room. I had two walls here, and the slime was right up close to my feet, and I couldn't move. And I had ran out of trash in my hands. I could see some over there, but I didn't have any more in my hands. And what I was holding right here was some beautiful wild blueberries that I had spent hours picking. I love wild blueberries, and I was planning to make a pie. And that's what I had. So I didn't want to give those to this gross, smelly slime. I was holding them, and I tried to reach for trash. But when I bent over, a blueberry fell down right on top of the slime. But something different happened. I saw this lovely light lavender color ripple out through the whole slime. And suddenly, I had this weird feeling. I all of a sudden noticed that the slime, and I know this sounds really strange, but there was this like sad and lonely feeling coming from the slime. I know it doesn't make sense for slime to have feelings, but that's really what it seemed like. And so I looked at my precious blueberries. I felt sad for this sad, lonely slime. And I grabbed a few more blueberries and I sprinkled them on top. And again, that lavender color rippled out through the slime, and the slime shrunk back a little bit, and it paused. So I took the rest of my blueberries and gently poured them out on the slime. And that whole slime got a little lighter and a little smaller, and it seemed to make a difference. Well, I looked over at Maisie, who was in a different corner trapped by the slime. She saw what happened, and she realized too that there was some kind of sad feeling coming from this slime. What Maisie was holding was this beautiful pair of knit socks. She had just learned to knit, and she made the most beautiful pair of socks that were cozy and warm and stylish, and she had been really looking forward to wearing them. But looking at this slime and looking at her socks, even though the slime didn't have feet, she realized it needed the socks more than she did. So she bent down and she carefully laid these precious socks on top of the slime, and it got lighter and lighter and smaller and smaller. So then I looked over at Tom, who was in another corner, and he was holding all these little bottles. And these are bottles that he had been filling with water all year at places that he loves the most. And he was saving them for the water ingathering at church, that ceremony that we have every year. And he had all these precious bottles of water from places he loved. And he looked at the slime, he saw what had been happening, and he opened a bottle and poured a little bit out on the slime. And the same thing happened. It got lighter, a little bit shimmery, and it was shrinking more and more. Then I looked over at Carmi. She had been watching the whole thing, and she too felt the shift that was going on with the feeling of the slime. And she looked down, and she's a brave girl, and she took her hands and she bent down and she carefully put her hands right on top of the slime. And this time, instead of when she poked the slime and it hurt her, this time the slime felt warm and it felt soft, and she started to pet the slime like this. And it didn't hurt at all, and it actually felt kind of nice. And we all noticed the feeling shift. So we all bent down and started petting the slime, and it got smaller and smaller, and that more and more beautiful kind of orchid color, lavender color, and it was shimmery. And before you know it, it was this big, and it fit in a little container. And it was stretchy and soft and like the most wonderful putty you've ever played with. So maybe that story didn't quite happen exactly like that, but I bet you can imagine some situations where if you feed something bad, then it gets worse and it doesn't help. But if you decide to feed it good things, it can change and be a much different outcome. Maybe talking to someone. If we talk to people with unkind words, what do you think might happen? And if we were to talk to them with kind words, how might that change? Or if we go into a situation thinking it's going to be terrible, if we go in with bad thoughts, how might that be different than if we go in with good thoughts? I wonder what stories you have about feeding things something good or something not good. And I also wonder what your favorite slime recipes are. Well, I look forward to seeing you soon. I miss you and I love you.